guys, welcome back to my channel. So today I am actually going to be sharing with you how I got my job at Sephora. For those of you who are interested in possibly applying for a job at Sephora, I thought this might be helpful for you just to kind of hear how the process went for me. Before I went into apply at Sephora, I did research on YouTube videos like this video and watched quite a few of them, and it definitely helped me with my confidence going in because I just knew what to expect, and it helped me to kind of mentally prepare before heading in. So I'm hoping you guys find this useful, and if you want to hear more about how I got my job, keep watching. So first of all, I've been working at Sephora for only a couple of weeks now, and I am working at a Sephora inside of a JCPenney's. I know that makes a big difference in the interviewing process because you are technically a JCPenney employee under the umbrella of Sephora. So it is a little bit different process for the interview process than a freestanding Sephora is. I personally am working at a Sephora inside JCPenney because it is closest to my house. It's only about a 10-minute drive for me, and the closest freestanding Sephora is like a 30-minute drive. So I was not interested in commuting that far. So that is why I'm working at a Sephora inside JCPenney. From what I hear, it is a little bit easier to get hired at Sephora inside JCPenney than a freestanding Sephora, but I think it really depends on your location as well, because it depends on the volume that they get, you know, how large the staff is and how many people they have looking to be employed with them. So the more people who are applying, obviously the harder it is to get your foot in the door. So I want to just go ahead and talk to you guys about what I experienced, what my process what my interview process looked like, and I'm not gonna say that every one is gonna be exactly the same, but this is what it was for me, and you might be able to expect something similar if you apply at a Sephora inside JCPenney. So the initial interview was a group interview, and there was 4 girls, including myself, in the group. And it was a little bit awkward. I've never actually had a group interview before, but as I was talking to some of the other girls, apparently it's a lot more common than I thought. But I've never worked in a retail environment. Well, I have. I'm going to take that back. But it's been at least 10 years since I've worked in retail. It's been a very long time since I worked retail. So they may just do things differently than, you know, they did way back then. But yeah, so it was a group interview. We walked in and there was the main manager of the Sephora as well as the HR manager for JCPenney side were both in the room, and they were kind of sitting at a table in front of our table. So basically they explained the instructions to us. They were holding an iPad and they said one at a time we would come up and get, I think it was 10 seconds to look at a picture of what they wanted us to build out of these building blocks. And then we'd have to explain to the other 3 girls what to do, like how to place the blocks, which color of blocks to use, basically walk them through the building process. And we'd have 1 minute to explain it to them, but during that time we weren't allowed to touch the blocks. So we got 10 minutes to look, 1 minute to explain how to build, and we couldn't touch during that time. And then the next girl would go up, get 10 seconds to look and explain, and then the person who previously had looked can then start helping with the building process. So that's kind of how it went. Honestly, my group really struggled with this project. It was a little bit of a disaster. I was definitely the oldest girl in the group. The other girls were all college age, and I believe one was still in high school, so I definitely felt a little bit out of place. But I think that my age and my experience with being somewhat of a leader in leadership roles in my previous jobs and being a mom, I kind of stepped up and was kind of leading the other girls through the whole process. So I definitely felt like I kind of stood out as being the one that was like, okay, we need to do this. And, you know, when the girls would go up, I was like, okay, you really need to look here, look, see what are we supposed to do next. But honestly, I don't know if that helped me or not. obviously I did get a second callback for a second interview, so it wasn't a negative thing, but it was just a mess. It was really a mess. At the end too, they were like, yeah, you guys really struggled, and we're like, does anybody ever get the whole thing? And they're like, well, not normally, but we do have some groups that get it, but you guys definitely struggled more than most people. And I was like, oh God, that's so embarrassing. So anyway, that's how it went for our group. Obviously, it wasn't a deterrent for them to hire me. So if you have a similar building project like that, don't sweat it. It's not a big deal if you don't get it built, because I still got hired. So just do your best. I think that really that project was about how do you communicate with people, how good are you at following instructions, how good do you do at explaining things, stuff like that. So I think it wasn't about the end result, but about the process through the whole thing. So keep that in mind. If you get that, don't worry. It was also hard because I was nervous, so I was like shaking a little bit, you know, my hands were a little shaky. And so you're trying to place these blocks just right, and if your hands are shaking a little bit, it's like the game Jenga, you know, so you're like, trying to place it just right without knocking everything else over. So anyways, it was kind of a disaster. But after that that team building project, they asked us questions, and it was a little bit awkward, like I said, because they opened it up and they said basically whoever wants to answer, just go ahead and answer. So they didn't ask like a specific person. They weren't like, Lisa, tell me about a time when you did this at work. They just said, tell me about a time that you had a difficult customer and how did you resolve the issue, and then they opened it up to the floor. So I was the first one to answer like the first 3 questions, and then I tried to kind of sit back and let some of the other girls kind of take the lead, but everyone else was a little bit reserved. So I definitely felt like I kind of dominated it, although I wasn't trying to. I was trying to allow everybody a chance, but the other girls were kind of like looking at each other like, oh, are you gonna answer it? Are you gonna answer it? And I was like, okay, I'll answer it. You know, I'm not gonna just sit here and be quiet. So I definitely put myself out there, and I tend to be a shy person, but in a work situation like that where I know it's professional, I do kind of put myself forward a little bit. So anyway, so that's how that went. I was a little bit nervous after it was all over because I didn't know if the building thing, how we just kind of failed at that, if that was going to affect my chances. And then I was like, you know, was I too forward? Was I talking too much? Well, I was trying to give the other girls a chance to talk, but like I said, they weren't stepping up. So I was like, I hope that I wasn't, you know, too forward, and I didn't want that to hurt my chances. So anyway, I think it was the next day or maybe 2 days after, it might have been the next day. It was pretty quick. I got a call from the manager of the Sephora asking me to come in for a second interview. So we set that up, and I came in a couple days later for my second interview, and it was a one-on-one interview with the other 2 managers of the Sephora. So the original person that I interviewed with was like the general manager of Sephora, and then the other 2 managers that are directly below her, I don't know their titles, but both of them were the 2 that interviewed me for my second interview. So we sat down, and it was just me and the 2 managers in the room, and they asked me a lot of questions about my work history. They asked me why I wanted to work at Sephora. I know that's a big question that is asked a lot. And I was just very honest. I told them obviously that I really love makeup. It's a hobby of mine. I enjoy, you know, learning about new products and trying new things. And then I also like sharing my knowledge with my friends and family. I did not mention my YouTube channel. I didn't want that to deter them, if that makes sense. So I just thought it was better to not mention it. So I didn't even bring that up at all, but I did mention that I like to share my knowledge with people that I know. And then they also asked me, what my favorite beauty product was. That was a hard one to answer. I was like, everything, but if I had to pick one, I think I said mascara, because I have no lashes without mascara, so I have to have mascara. But I think brows is really high up there too, because I have no brows either. But anyway, so I pretty much just said like everything, but they asked me what my weakness was. If I had to pick one thing about myself, what did I feel like I needed to improve on? And I said my shyness. I said that I do sometimes get a little bit, you know, a little bit shy and not as outgoing as I'd like to be, but that it's something I've been working on. They were really gracious about it. They're like, oh yeah, everybody has a fall, don't worry about it. So they were really, really sweet. Honestly, all the girls that I work with, including my managers, are amazingly sweet people. Like I have never worked with a group of people who has been more welcoming, more friendly. They're just really great people, which is really, really nice to have. And then the one thing that I did mention that I thought really, really helped me in that one-on-one interview was that they asked me what I thought I brought to the table that someone else didn't bring, or something about me that would set me apart from other candidates. And I said that it was my attitude. I told them that, this is something that I always try to do, and I explained it to them also, is that when I am getting ready to go to work, whether it was when I was working in the food industry as a server or working in retail or whatever I'm doing, I always make sure that I mentally prepare before I go in, and that I go in with the best attitude. So I listen to my music blaring while I get ready, and I take my time doing my makeup, and I really just get myself in a great mood before I go to work, because I think it's really, really important. People can see when they come in, customers can see if you want to be at work or if you're not happy at work. And it really makes a big difference. They want to see that you enjoy going to work and that you're having fun there and that you're ready to help them. You know, they don't want to come in and have you be like, what do you need help with today? You know, you have to have a good attitude going into work. So I told them that's my personal philosophy, is that I always feel like leave any drama at home, and when you go to work, you have a smile on your face, you're having fun, you're got the best positive attitude that you can have, and that you're just like ready to go. So they seem to really like that answer, and it's an important thing to have in general, I think, is to have a positive attitude, because it really will take you far. That is how my one-on-one interview went, and then that night I got a call with a job offer. So the whole thing went really, really quick. I think it was maybe 5 days from the time that I had my group interview until I had my job offer. It just happened really, really fast. So yeah, it was a really fun and easy process, with the exception of that team building thing, which made me a little nervous. But other than that, everyone, like I said, was really, really nice and really, really great. So hopefully you guys will have a similar experience. The biggest thing I could say to you guys for advice is that, number one, go in looking the part. When I had that group interview, the other 3 girls came in not looking ready to work at a Sephora. One of them had chipped nail polish, like really chipped nail polish, and I made sure that all my nails had no polish on them, but if I was gonna wear polish, I would have made sure that it was fresh, looking good polish. I went in with my makeup flawless, and you know, one of them I don't think was wearing any makeup, and the other one looked like she just wasn't showing off her makeup skills. I don't know, maybe she is really good at makeup, but all 3 of them, none of them came in showing off their makeup skills. Remember, this is a job in cosmetics, so you are in this position going to be applying makeup to people, and you need to be able to show them what you can do. And you have your face, which is a canvas that you can walk in. It's like an advertisement of what you can do. So make sure to utilize it and go in with your makeup looking good. There is a dress code policy when you work at Sephora that you have to have a lip color on, you have to have a blush on, you have to have at least 2 colors of eyeshadow on your lid, and mascara. So that is kind of, oh, and you also have to have a foundation. That's kind of the bare minimum that they expect when you go into work, so you should have that when you go into your interview. You should also wear all black and look professional, because that is their dress code. So you want to walk in looking like you already work there, and then they can kind of imagine that you are already working there. one of the girls was wearing jeans. To me, it just seems like you have to go in dressed the part, and that definitely, I think, set me apart from the other girls. As far as I know, the other 3 girls didn't even get a second callback, so I know none of them got hired. There was another girl that got hired with me, but none of the 3 girls that were in my group interview were hired. So I definitely think that is the #1 thing. Go in looking the part and be ready. Also, you have to go in confident. Even if you're not feeling that confident, fake it till you make it. You know, that's what they say, and it's totally true. Just go in there feeling like you know your stuff. You don't have to know about every single product in the store. They didn't ask me one question about my product knowledge. So don't feel like you have to know about everything when you go in there. I think, again, they're gonna be able to see from how you do your own makeup and how you take care of your own, you know, canvas, whether or not you know what you're doing. You don't have to go in and be like, yeah, I know about this product and that product, and this is how you should apply a smoky eye, and that stuff doesn't matter. So don't feel like you have to know everything walking in. And there is an education process, so you are gonna learn the things that you might not be as comfortable with. Like skincare was a big thing for me. I don't know a lot about skincare. I've tried a few products at Sephora, but not that many. I'm kind of a drugstore girl when it comes to skincare. So that's something that I'm learning now that I'm working there. And they're definitely gonna give you that knowledge. So don't feel like you have to cram all that in before you go. The most important thing, look the part, be prepared emotionally, and just have that confidence so that you can just walk into the room and feel like, you know what, they're gonna like you for who you are. Show them your real personality and they're gonna like you. So I think that's the biggest thing, is just be yourself, be real, but of course be confident. So hopefully this whole video helped you guys. If you have any other specific questions about how the process was or how I like working at Sephora so far, leave those questions below and I'd be happy to answer them for you. And give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it or if you found it useful, and I will see you guys in my next video. Bye guys!